Sometimes I swear there's a supplement out there for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But this Semenax review you sent in,
Yeah.
this one really got me thinking about all the promises we see out there these days,
Right.
especially when it comes to, well, male vitality.
Yeah, it's a topic that definitely gets a lot of attention.
For sure.
And Semenax is not shying away from making some pretty bold claims.
Right.
The article talked about how they're really using this kitchen sink approach for their ingredients, almost like throwing everything at it will guarantee results.
Yeah, like more ingredients equals more potency or something.
Right.
But we know just because something sounds good on paper doesn't always mean it leads to real results.
Exactly. And that's where the dosage of the ingredients comes in. The article mentions that a lot of these ingredients in Semenax are supported by research, but they're actually in much smaller amounts than what has been shown to be effective in trials.
So it's like they're putting all the toppings on the pizza, but just like a tiny sprinkle of each one.
Yeah.
Looks impressive, but does it actually taste good?
A perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And that actually leads into another thing the review brought up.
Okay.
Semenax actually funded their own clinical trial.
Oh, really? Self-funded research. That always makes me a little skeptical.
Sure.
It's like a restaurant writing their own 5-star reviews.
Right.
It's interesting, but you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, in fairness to them, the study did show an increase in semen volume.
Okay.
But when it comes to those other claims they're making, the mind-blowing orgasms and all that,
All the things.
the evidence is much thinner.
So you're saying the science behind those claims is more of a whisper than a roar.
Exactly.
Okay.
And speaking of things that might make you raise an eyebrow,
Besides this self-funded study, don't leave me hanging.
the article points out that Semenax claims to have no reported side effects, but a closer look at their study says otherwise.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone.
Yeah.
They're saying no side effects, but their own research says otherwise.
Yeah, it's a classic case of selective reporting, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the review highlighted that the study did list several side effects.
Like what?
Things like abdominal pain and headaches.
Oh, no.
Not exactly what you want.
Definitely not the bedroom fireworks anyone's looking for.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Even though we're talking about something that can be seen as embarrassing,
Right.
at the end of the day, it's about your health.
It is absolutely. It's about your health. And that's where, exploring alternative options, I think, is really crucial.
Okay.
For someone struggling with erectile dysfunction. The review clearly states that, prescription medications like Viagra or Cialis have a much stronger track record.
Right. Always good to look at all the options, especially when it comes to something like this.
Absolutely.
But what about people who want to stay natural? What about that aisle of the supplement store?
There are some options out there.
Yeah.
The article mentions testosterone boosters.
Okay.
But I have to say, I see patients thinking that, more testosterone equals more virility.
Right.
And it's not that simple. Testosterone therapy comes with its own set of side effects.
Right.
So it's not something to be taken lightly.
It's like you always say, there's no magic pill.
Exactly. And that goes for those herbal supplements for fertility, too.
Okay.
Just because it says natural on the label doesn't mean it's safe or effective.
So no matter what it is, talk to your doctor first.
Absolutely. They're the ones who can weigh the potential benefits and risks.
Makes sense. So we've talked about the science, the risks.
Yeah.
But what about the claims themselves? Can a supplement really lead to better orgasms?
That's where the line between science and marketing gets really blurry.
Okay.
The review kind of hints that some of these companies might be banking on the placebo effect.
Interesting.
If you believe it'll work, you just might convince yourself that it does.
Wow, the power of suggestion.
It's a real thing.
It really is. But we don't want to just rely on wishful thinking.
Right.
So what are some red flags people should look out for with supplements like this?
Yeah, you bring up a good point. It's like those as seen on TV products.
That-
They always make it look so easy.
Right, and glamorous.
But real life is rarely like that.
Not quite so. Skepticism is our superpower then.
It can be.
Okay, good.
One thing the review really emphasizes is looking beyond those marketing tactics.
Okay.
Don't get swayed by flashy promises or celebrity endorsements
Right.
or those too good to be true testimonials.
I always sound fake anyway.
Exactly. They're more about selling you something
Right.
than actual results.
So transparency is key.
Absolutely. And to their credit,
Okay.
the review does give Semenax props for at least doing a clinical trial,
Yep.
even if it was self-funded. Yeah.
A lot of these companies don't even do that. They rely on anecdotal evidence in marketing.
Wow. So basically, Trust us, it works.
Pretty much.
But we need more than blind trust these days.
Exactly. And that goes for the ingredients list, too. The review pointed out that Semenax includes some ingredients in very small amounts, likely too small to actually do anything.
Sneaky.
It's like they're hoping we won't do the math.
Oh, we did the math.
And
it all comes back to this. When it comes to our health, especially something this personal, informed decision-making is so important.
Couldn't agree more.
Talk to your doctor, do your research, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think this whole deep dive into Semenax highlights a much larger issue.
What's that? The article was focused on the science, which is important, but it got me thinking.
Yeah.
What role does our culture play in all of this?
Oh, interesting.
Are we so bombarded with these unrealistic expectations about male sexuality and performance that we're looking for these quick fixes?
It's like this pressure cooker of expectations, and we're all just trying to keep up.
Exactly.
No wonder people are reaching for a supplement, hoping for a miracle.
Yeah, and that's why I think, having these conversations is so important.
For sure.
We need to normalize talking about these issues.
Absolutely, with our partners, our doctors, our friends.
Exactly.
Because true vitality comes from self-acceptance, communication, and well-being, not just a pill.
Well said. It's about a holistic approach.
I like it.
Taking care of our physical and mental health.
Yes.
Nurturing our relationships, all connected.
And maybe letting go of some of those unrealistic expectations.
Easier said than done sometimes.
It can be, but it's important.
It is.
So to wrap things up, our Semenax deep dive has shown that while it might have some benefits, it's not this miracle solution some hope for.
Right.
And more importantly, there are healthier, more sustainable ways to approach male sexual health.
I completely agree. It's time to shift the conversation from quick fixes to long-term solutions.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, this has been an eye-opening and, let's be honest, sometimes awkward deep dive.
Definitely awkward.
But hey, that's what we're here for.
That's right.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep those questions coming.
See you next time.
Right, like what kind of side effects are we talking about here? Well, the review mentioned things like abdominal pain.
Oh, no.
And headaches.
Not good.
Not exactly what you're hoping for.
Definitely not. It's a good reminder, though.
Right.
Even though we're talking about something that can be embarrassing.
Sure.
It is ultimately about your health.
Absolutely. And I think that's where exploring some alternative options is important.
Okay, so for someone struggling with this, what would you recommend?
Well, for erectile dysfunction,
right,
the review clearly says that prescription medications like Viagra or Cialis are much more effective.
Yeah, those have been around a while, right?
They have.
And they have a good track record. I guess it's good to consider all the options.
It is.
But what about people who want to stay natural? Are there any alternatives in that realm?
There are some options.
Okay.
Like the article mentions testosterone boosters.
Right, I was just going to say that.
But I have to say, I've seen a lot of patients who think more testosterone equals more virility.
Oh, interesting.
And it's not always that simple.
Okay.
Testosterone therapy has its own risks and side effects.
Right, because then it's a hormone thing, right?
Exactly. It's not something to mess around with.
It's like you always say, there's no magic pill.
There really isn't. And that goes for those herbal supplements for fertility, too.
So those aren't really any better.
Not necessarily. Yeah. Just because something says natural doesn't mean it's safe.
Right. So it really comes down to talking to your doctor.
Absolutely. They're the ones who can really weigh the benefits and risks for you.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the science behind Semenax. We talked about the potential risks.
Right.
But what about the claims themselves?
Yeah.
Are we really supposed to believe that a supplement can lead to better orgasms?
Well, that's where the line gets really blurry.
Between science and marketing, you mean?
Exactly. The review even hinted that some of these companies might be relying on the placebo effect.
Oh, wow, really?
If you believe it'll work, you might actually convince yourself that it does.
So the power of suggestion is real.
It is. It's a powerful thing.
That's wild. But we don't want to just rely on wishful thinking, right?
Definitely not.
So what are some red flags people should watch out for when they're looking at these supplements? What should people be looking for?
Well, one thing the review really emphasizes is the importance of looking past those marketing tactics.
Right.
Don't get swayed by the flashy promises and the endorsements
right.
or the too good to be true testimonials.
Yeah, those always sound so fake.
Yeah, they're more about selling a product than showing real results.
Okay, so it sounds like transparency is really key here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to their credit, the review did give Semenax props for at least conducting a clinical trial.
Yeah.
even if it was funded by themselves.
Right.
A lot of these companies don't even do that.
Really? They just skip that whole part.
They just rely on anecdotal evidence and marketing.
Wow. So they're basically saying, trust us, it works.
Pretty much.
But come on, we need more than that.
Exactly. We need to see the evidence.
Right. We need to see those ingredients.
And speaking of ingredients,
Okay.
the review also pointed out that Semenax lists some ingredients in very small amounts.
Okay. Are they trying to trick us?
It's like they're hoping we won't read the fine print.
We won't do the math.
Exactly.
And we did the math.
And it always comes back to this when it comes to our health.
Right.
Especially something as personal as this informed decision-making is crucial.
Absolutely. We have to do our research.
Talk to your doctor.
Ask those questions even if they feel a little awkward.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself.
Exactly. And you know what? Thinking about all this, this deep dive into Semenax, it's got me thinking about the bigger picture.
I agree. There's a lot more to unpack here.
Because the article we read focused on the science.
Which is important, of course.
Of course. But it made me think about
Yeah.
the role our culture plays in all of this.
That's a great point.
Are we putting too much pressure on men?
Right? Is that why we're all so focused on these quick fixes?
Exactly. Instead of looking at the bigger picture of our health and well-being.
It's so important to remember that our physical and mental health are connected.
It's all connected, and we can't forget about the importance of relationships and communication.
Absolutely. Those things matter so much more than any supplement.
So maybe instead of searching for a magic pill,
Right.
we should be focusing on building healthy habits and having those open and honest conversations.
It's about taking a more holistic approach to male sexual health and well-being.
I love that. A holistic approach.
It's not just about what's happening in the bedroom.
Right.
It's about our overall health and happiness.
Well said. And on that note,
Yeah.
I think this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive.
Definitely eye-opening.
And let's be honest, a little awkward at times.
Just a little.
But that's what we're here for, right? To tackle those tough conversations.
Exactly. No topic is off limits.
So until next time, stay curious, stay informed.
And keep those questions coming.
We'll see you all next time for another deep dive.